Welcome to Women's Brew, where women talk about beer. And today it's our yearly International Women's Collaboration Brew Day beer release episode Extravaganza. I'm Joanne and this is Tori.
Hello.
And we're two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us. Oh, I did like that opening.
I mean, I wrote it's our yearly one, but I can't remember if we did as big of a fuss about it last year. Because I think we sort of I think we talked about it, but I can't even remember if we really.
I feel like we make this a thing now. I like it has gravitas.
That's why I put it's a yearly thing, because I was like, the intention is it'll be yearly. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this time last year we thought we were still going to be going, so.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like every month I'm like,
we thought, dear listeners and viewers, that you might be sick of us by now, but apparently not.
Well, and if you are, I don't care.
We don't care.
I'm still doing another one next year. I think what's funny as well is we've obviously talked about we did the brew day already. But we're going to talk about it again.
We're going to talk about it again.
Don't care. But that's not all that we're going to focus on today. So yeah, I'm really thirsty. It's been a day. I'm tired. I'm still tired from the weekend. We're going to open up the first one, and we're doing the double-barreled Ikaru first, because I don't know if that's actually pronounced the correct way as it should be. I'll tell you for why in a minute. But it's a pale ale, 5.7%. I said it's double-barreled. I picked this one to go first, quite frankly, because I want to christen my double-barrel glass.
Nice.
It's beautiful.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
Gold leaf on it.
And it's one of those, for those not watching the video, it's one of those nice kind of square stemmed ones.
Like the wine glass.
The Three Hills Outpost.
It's like the Three Hills Outpost.
Also, double-barreled do pretty cans.
And their sours are amazing.
Yeah, they've got.
Just gonna put that out there.
They do real good sours. And I've got a fun cardie from them.
Oh, I went to go buy it. It was already out. I'm annoyed.
I got in there. I was like, "That is a fun cardigan. I am buying it."
Was waiting.
I want to be a cardigan.
I was waiting for this release to come out, and I was like, when I put in the order for this one, hopefully they still have it, and it will be all good. But they did not still have it.
So we poured this. It smells like Lil.
I just like it. I don't know what Lil is.
Do you not know what Lil is?
I think I do. I think we had it in my office. It was a pineapple and grape,
passion fruit or something. Yeah, something like that.
Or something like that. We had it in our office one day, and I was like, "What is this?" And it was like, I tried it, and I really like it, and it looks beautiful as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a gorgeous yellow. It's hazy. Had a whole conversation at the weekend about the difference between hazy and cloudy in beer.
Oh, interesting.
There's a little group of certified beer servers.
Nerds.
and a WSET trained beer person who was just like, I'm WSET, and we were like, nah, whatever. And we were discussing the difference between beer language and cider language, because in beer, hazy is the word you want to use. You don't want to use cloudy, because that's kind of a throwback to beer used to be very clear and people expected it to be clear, and if it wasn't, it was cloudy and it was off. Obviously now with the styles of beer that we have, with the way that beer is brewed, the ingredients that are used, it tends to be more hazy, so we say hazy instead of cloudy, because if you say cloudy, people are going to be upset. However, cloudy cider just means there's more apples in it and makes people happy.
It just means there's more apples.
Just means there's
more apples to love.
Psychology, beer psychology in language. I should write a dissertation on it.
Right. So
anyway,
before before I actually get involved in this, I will just state as well, because I think we stated last year that last year's there's a theme every year. I know we've already shared the link of the International Women's Collaboration Brew Day stuff on the last time we talked about this, when we did the brew with Heist and Lost Industries. We'll share it again for anyone that's interested, that wants to know about that. But also last year the theme was compassion. This year the theme was celebration. For
obvious reasons.
I'm just going to set that as the precedence before we start talking through everything else.
Yeah. Cheers.
So what I did find out from this one, the tasting notes is described on there. So I got this from their like Instagram post because I was trying to go and understand where the name came from. And it was like, they described it as super juicy, super silky pale ale. And so far the smell is super juicy. The taste they've described it as is ripe peaches and nectarines hit the palate first from Ikaru's hefty Nectaron dry hop, backed up with sweet tropics from buds Citra and Eldorado, adding a pillow soft base, and you've got a super drinkable beer worth sharing and celebrating. Hence the theme, celebration.
Excellent.
Oh, it smells nice.
It is super silky.
That mouthfeel though. That mouthfeel though.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's like magic.
Love it. So the reason,
tropical, definitely juicy.
The reason I wasn't sure how to pronounce this in the proper way it's supposed to be pronounced is because I was digging to be like, how did they name this beer? Because I looked at the blog post, I tried looking everywhere. It's not for sale anymore on their website. I think you can probably get it from other shops, but it's not direct on their web shop like where I got it. On the side of the can, it doesn't say any of that. So I went digging, and initially I thought it was the Japanese word for angry or getting angry, Ikaru. Okay. So I was like, is that what that's supposed to mean? I was like, that doesn't sound very celebratory unless we're celebrating, getting really angry about what is going on at the moment.
We're trying to make a change.
Yeah, we're angry. We're making a change for women. So that was sort of like, I was like, I guess it makes sense. And then I actually found it, and it's named after the Sumerian word for light beer.
Oh, okay.
There's your fun fact. But the additional fun fact for that, which was just a coincidence, was it linked really well back into the Japanese, which is why I mentioned it. It was because the name Hikaru means light or radiance. So I found that as I was trying to Google through, and I was like, because I Googled Ikaru, and it was like, oh yeah, it means angry / getting angry. Or maybe you mean Hikaru, which is like the light / radiance. And I was like, both of those could work really well. But it's Sumerian.
Okay, it's not
yeah, they called it like the OG beer ladies, basically. Which was cool.
I mean, Kazi.
It means light beer.
Beautiful. It's lovely.
20p from every can goes to Choose Love, which raises funds for refugees and displaced people. So
excellent.
Charity beer as well. It's brilliant.
Excellent.
Oh, it's very sessionable.
Yeah, it's nice.
5.7. It's quite light, but it's not thin. Like it's a light beer, but it's not
got
thin.
A nice,
like almost creamy silkiness.
It's silky.
It is the word. Pillowy is literally exactly it. And it's all the best fruits. Like I love the peaches and nectarines in beers, and I just wish the sun was out. I wish it wasn't nighttime, as you can see from the window behind me if you're watching the video, because this is like a beautiful day drinking beer.
Yeah, it's good stuff. That is lovely. Well done, the ladies.
Well done,
female identifying peoples that did this double barreled.
It's worth pointing out as well. So I've got a link to the blog post that Joe, I think you can probably share, which is not so much about the day, but it was about they put it out there to drum up interest for people to sign up. And I just think it's relevant because they kind of talk about like who the people are at Brewery and kind of like what International Women's Collaboration Brew Day is, like why it's important to them, all that. So I thought we'd leave it there. Double Barreled is female co-owned by Lucy Clayton Jones. So obviously that's probably one big reason they want to that it is important to them as a brewery. So yeah, it was cool, and they are relatively down the road from me, and annoyingly they didn't announce they were doing it until after I already agreed to drive 3 hours away. Not even salty about it, but actually we had a really good time. So speaking of that really good time, you already heard us talk about it. We're going to talk about it again. Where do you want to start? We need to buy time so I can drink the rest of this.
Shall I say about how many times I've been involved in International Women's Collaboration Brew Day?
Give us your history and your perspective as a person that has done it a few times.
I've done 4 years of International Women's Collaboration Brew Day now. I went to my first one in 2019 at Wildcard, because Jager Wise opens up the brewery every year when she can to women, just to like brew a beer, but also to educate them about beer. One women from the industry and women that just like beer can get together in that space and learn about it. So that year the theme was forage, and some people went out onto the Walthamstow marshes and got mugwort and nettles, I think, and we put that in a beer that also had lemon in it. It was delicious when we got to trying it.
Nice. Sounds really interesting.
Yeah, and so that was my first time, and I was a little bit nervous because I was just kind of someone that had only a few months before that I'd started kind of putting pictures of my beers up on Instagram under the original A Woman's Brew account. So if you scroll real far back on the podcast one, you'll see all my stuff from there.
As we said in our announcement already, that is now officially. It was unofficially the podcast. Yeah. It is now officially the podcast one.
If you scroll a few ways back, there's my original stuff on there. And so I hadn't long been then. It was wonderful because we just brewed a beer together, and I got to do it. Like I helped do the mash, and I stood the entire day cleaning lemon peel.
Was it cool though to have like someone like Jager
it was so cool
there, and you were just like, someone that I recognise as the first time a rock star in beer.
I met Jager Wise, I met Melissa Cole, like just I met a whole bunch of people, and it like Grace was there. Grace from Liquid Light was there. That was the first time I tried Liquid Light beer because she brought some of her beer down from Nottingham. Like I met a whole bunch of different people that day. And learned brewing techniques, came home and used them in my own beers. The next year was 2020. We just managed to get it in just before lockdown. I went back to Wildcard again.
I was gonna say, was that the year where there was when Mothership did one about
it was about famous women.
And it was one that did coding.
Is
that the Lovelace one? Ada Lovelace, I think.
And it was to Ada Lovelace. It was.
Well
done.
Please, I know I just shouted into the mic. I'm so sorry, everyone. I don't know how I managed to remember that. I don't know how. I literally without a beat. I was like, oh, was that the year that there was that one?
Yeah. So that year was the theme was tribute, and a lot of the breweries did it as a tribute to various different women that have made strides in all the industries. And the one from Wildcard was for Ada Lovelace. And it was,
which I knew.
It was an IPA. It was a hazy IPA, but we had the opportunity to learn and smell lots of different hops. And then we got tested at the end in teams to see if we could blind identify the hops. And the team that won a case of Wildcard beer, and my team won.
I feel like I'd only be able to I'd be like Sabro. Other than Sabro, I'd be like, I don't know.
And you know how we won? Because I picked out Mosaic.
Broccoli.
It smelled like broccoli. And we'd said it was Citra or something. And I was like, no, this one, this broccoli. I was like, it smells like Mosaic. This is definitely Mosaic because it smells like broccoli. I was like, and that one's Citra. And that's how we won.
It's the one time that your broccoli smells like that sounds weird, not your broccoli, but your broccoli identifiers are good.
Yeah.
That is, I feel like it's a missed opportunity though if when they put out the content for that they didn't use Tenacious D's tribute on like all of everything. Like I'd be like, hang on, what's that?
I also shared my homebrew with Jager Wise and she said, that's nice.
I don't know why, it was just the way in which you like presented that. It makes you think of like you play a rock star a song and they're like, that's a good tune, and you're like, oh
yeah, that's literally how I felt. I was like, Jager said that my beer was nice.
No, that's brilliant. Was like because how did you feel as that's like your second year? I mean, how did you feel that first year, like being in the room with people that were like, you had someone that at least one person that was like a relatively big name in beer? And I mean, were you doing your beer school at the time?
No.
Like
this
you were
just 2019. I started my beer Instagram account in December 2018. So I'd only been doing that for about 3 months. And I was just like, I'm gonna go because Jager said that like anyone can come, so I'm gonna. And I just went.
So I want to say as well, so I pulled up that double barrel article as well. I've got, because my multiple monitors, and what I really liked in their sort of summary of what is International Women's Collaboration Brew Day, they put something in there that says, about the history of it and encouraging all women interested in beer with any interest to get involved in beer.
Yeah.
And it says, because there is a role for women in breweries and beer in whatever capacity they may like. And I really like that. And they also made sure to put on it, like, you know, we hope this day helps anyone who identifies as female to engage with the industry, providing a network of voices, companions and friends. And obviously, this being the theme of celebration this year was quite good. It's, you know, uniting and creating something great is what they've written. And I think it's really important because it's not just about, you know, who you can meet at those breweries in terms of like the big names. It's about finding companions and friends that can like relate to you and like finding your tribe.
There are literally people that I met at each one of these that are still my friends now. Literally.
Like, I think it's just it serves a really brilliant purpose in that sense as well. And I think especially, I obviously can't speak from the standpoint beyond what I can imagine it must be like as a person who is either, you know, trans or non-binary or anything where they may not fit that normal, I say normal in quotes, you can't see it if you're just listening to it, but like normal quote unquote role of women. I mean, even if you're a woman that's, you know, a from birth born female and you just don't fit the mold of what like that is, it's finding other people that sort of understand you and accept you for who you are. And I really quite like that it hopefully it can make those people feel more comfortable and more at home if they don't just fit in this one mold that maybe we're given and told you have to fit in this mold. It's really brilliant, but obviously you've got the years of experience. Is that the case when you're actually there?
Yeah, definitely. Like I've met people that I still talk to. I've met people that like I can get advice from about things. And then so the third year, when we were still in like a lockdown type period, it was virtual, and I was really proud to be able to like go and talk to Sophie Durand and talk to Kimberly Craft Beer Pinup, you know, and share my experiences and stuff. That was amazing. And then to use the voices from Women's Pint Club to pick the crazy beer that you all wanted me to brew. And
so timeline wise, this is for anyone that's like listening, because I just tangented off with reading Double Barrel's website, but getting back to it, that is the third year, the one that year. You managed to just get one in lockdown.
Yeah, we got one in lockdown. We managed to get it in March. The next March we were still in lockdown, so then it was virtual. And then finally this year we managed to both do it in person together again at Heist.
And Lost Industries.
And at Lost Industries.
Literally
double brew day.
Double brew day.
Mad. Again, met people that are going to be my friends for a long time. And I kind of stood back at one point and went, oh, I'm the people that I looked at when I did the first one. Because I was able to give people advice. I was able to be like, girl, you know, message me if you need help about XYZ, you know, like I was able to do that and be a person at that event that like encouraged other women into beer with the beer tasting that I led.
Oh, like, yeah, that was what was really cool about that for me was obviously I say it was cool about for me, like I had anything, I was just there, I was just the videographer and photo person.
You were
it took me ages to even get you like the photos. I'm pretty sure it was like you didn't even need them anymore at that point. But what was really cool was just looking around the table and seeing the diversity around the table of people that were sat at the table with us. And I think one thing I want to say is I do feel like sometimes you have people that go like, oh, if you're, I hate using the word feminist. Like I've grown to hate using the word feminist because I feel like that gets associated.
Oh no,
with
I will use it.
Male hating and all that. Care. Yeah, I'm just like, I feel like for me personally, and I can only speak on but I have grown to sort of have this like love-hate relationship with that word where like I feel like it becomes a burden for me to use that word because so many people view that as like male hating and bashing and it's like superiority women, and that's not the case at all. You get extremists everywhere. That is not the case. But what I really liked about that as well is the male staff that were working at the bar, like they were just as welcome to be popping in and sitting down and having drinks. Like it wasn't this atmosphere that felt it was a table full of women, female identifying people, but no one was sat there going, you can't cope, like, this is not your place, like, we can't have a conversation with you, you are not welcome here, like, for the staff members and stuff like that. Like, it was just a really chill environment. I don't know if you sort of got the vibe as well, but
absolutely. And like, it interested me that it hadn't been billed as a women only event, the beer tasting, but it ended up that way. But it was still open to whoever kind of popped through to that side of the tap room. It was just really chilled, really lovely. People really kind of bonding and learning
with strangers. I spoke to random people that had no, like, yes, okay, there were people that we had brewed with throughout the day, there were people that worked at the tap room, like people we'd been in contact with on, you know, social media, like, great. But there was also people sat next to me that I didn't know from a hole in the wall, and like one of them was this person that was like an OBGYN, and we were sort of like talking about that stuff. And the lady that was sat immediately next to me, she was absolutely lovely. She came on her own, which I feel like already is such a brave move, because so many people don't even like going out to eat on their own, let alone going to an event with drinks where you know that there may very well be groups of other people that already know each other there. And I was sat next to her and I had this really amazing chat. And she was Asian, and she was talking about like how in her household, great, like she's got a daughter, and how, you know, her daughter probably thinks that she's like crazy because, like, you know, she didn't grow up with a mum who home brews or does any of this. Like, I think she found out about it because she was part of like the homebrew club that they host or something, I believe. But she was just going like, oh, I said to her, like, your daughter's really lucky that she's got someone so cool and all that. And she's like, I don't think she thinks that she's so lucky about that. And she's like, because, you know, I didn't grow up in that environment. Maybe having someone that was like that in my household, because that's just not how like culturally that worked. And he was like, I'm sure my daughter just thinks that I'm mental. And I was like, nah. I was like, as she gets older, she's gonna be like, my mum is a badass. And she was such a nice person. So you get to meet people that, if you put yourself out there, you get to meet some really interesting people that you would have never gotten to speak to otherwise.
I highly recommend that if there is a brewery near you or that you can get to that does a International Women's Collaboration Brew Day, like open door, come in and join us, or does any sort of event for International Women's Day or International Women's Collaboration Brew Day, like, go and do it, because they're all brilliant.
I mean, not only that, I mean, so from my experience, that was my very first one. Like, I'd done the online one with you the year before. Not that I don't count that, but that wasn't like a going out and doing it. It was kind of giving
It was a very different experience.
Yeah, which was a very cool experience.
It was still cool.
But completely different to going out and physically doing it.
Yeah.
And again, got to meet so many people that I would have never met otherwise. People had travelled down from, we travelled up, other people had travelled across, people had come from another country. It was just really such a diverse crowd of people that turned up just to do the brew, like, full stop. And really interesting people, engaging people to have conversations with. And the hospitality at both Lost Industries and at Heist were just... we had been at Heist before. I knew the hospitality was amazing, and I had no doubts about Lost Industries either. But it was just the fact that it's like, at Lost Industries, they went out of their way to be like, we'll make you guys breakfast, tea and coffee, all you want. Like, it was just everyone was so lovely, and just wanted to make sure everyone was having a good time. And we were all very considerate of each other as well. Like, we wanted everyone to get a chance to do all the things. So it wasn't, I think when you've done bigger ones before, you're talking about how everyone kind of had a role, in the sense of like, you're cleaning fruit.
It depends on what's happening and what needs to be done, and the size of the brewery, obviously, because like certain things you can kind of stand by and watch, and certain things, like, you know, the tanks at Wildcard are much bigger than those at Heist, so it's more difficult for people to get as involved. But I really like that at Heist, like, the size of their kit, like, everyone can just get in, and properly you are going to get in there and you're going to mash in.
What was cool as well, like at Lost Industries, the way
and
that
at Lost Industries,
you had like we've always, all the collabs that we've ever done, like, it's been the ones where you can like dig out the mash, like out of the little hole in the mash tun, and you dig out. This one, it was like literally you are getting inside, and I thankfully had the excuse of there's literally a hole in my boot.
Yeah.
So I was like, I cannot. I mean, I guess I could get in there, but this is the first brew of the day. It's not going to end well for the end of the day if I jump in there like knee deep. I didn't have wellies because my wellies split, so I needed to use my hiking boots, and my hiking boots had a hole in them because I do all the exercise, obviously.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is not going to be pretty. So I couldn't really get in there to actually dig it out, but that was just cool because I wish I could, because it's something that I've not experienced, and I would love to just physically get in there. And I bet it was really warm, and I bet it felt really good. Yeah. But it was my first one, and I felt very warm and welcomed by both breweries. We were making some really interesting beers for sure. We had the daiquiri one from the daiquiri sour from Los Angeles, and we were all encouraged to bring a fruit that was our favorite fruit that we could throw in. I brought strawberries because strawberries are my favorite.
I brought raspberries because raspberries are my favorite.
It's true. It is true.
Yeah, it's true.
And then like it was cool just getting everyone being like, oh, have you had a turn to do this? Okay, you jump on and do this. Oh, you hold the bag now and we'll swap. And it was cool. And I would definitely do it again, like 110% over again if I could. And I got to meet Rachel finally in person after like knowing her online for like years, and having, if I say years, it's like maybe over a year, but it feels like years.
COVID years.
COVID years. Zoom chats together. Like literally, we went up to Heist to brew a beer with her, and she got COVID and we couldn't brew it with her. So we would do a brew with her.
Yeah.
That was cool. And even though we photoshopped her into being small, she's not that small. She's taller than me. So I was like, just wanted to hug her. It was so great.
Brilliant. It was really brilliant.
Cool. So that, I mean, we've already talked about it. Like if you want to hear our full episode about that, because we won't ramble on too much longer about the stuff we've already talked to you about, I'm sure Jo will put in the episode number. Yep. She's very good at doing detailed show notes. So there's the episode number for that. And I know that we definitely did talk about your virtual brew last year's as well. So
we put last year's one on
at least tell you what the numbers are so you can go and find it yourself. Yeah. If she doesn't link it in.
All right, second beer. Ta-da. Sisters are doing it for themselves, which is a double dry hop pale ale brewed by Quantock Brewery.
5.3%.
Very sessionable, these beers we've got.
Yeah, to be fair, I had never heard, admittedly, I'd never heard of this brewery before.
I'd heard of them. I don't think I've had any of their beers though.
I don't think I've even heard of them. And I just happened to be one of my local shops. I was getting another beer called I'm Fine, Thank You, Susan, that had robots on it, and it made me laugh so hard. And then this was like next to it, and I was like, oh, an International Women's Day one. So yeah, thank you to Sure Shots. I think it's Sure Shots. They're the reason I found Quantock, and so I grabbed us these.
I like what it says on the back of this, actually.
Let you read it while I pour mine.
Brewed on International Women's Day 2022. Women and brewing have been entwined since the beginning of human civilization. Here at QB, we are merely continuing in the footsteps of our foremothers. So this beer is to celebrate all women in our industry, as well as to connect and educate all aspiring brewsters out there. Our established house pale ale base hosts this year's top blend. This absolute stunner of a beer has a super silky mouthfeel and is bursting with aromas of citrus, pine and berries, followed by sweet tropical flavours to suit. And in hops, it's got HBC 630, Idaho Gem, Laurel, Talus and Triumph.
Oh, way to go, Idaho. I do like the Idaho.
Yeah, I don't like the Idaho, but when it's in with all of those,
I like all of them.
I know you like all of them.
I am on their website now, and they are out of stock of cans, but you can get. Oh no, they are in stock still.
Oh, there you go. You can try it if you'd like to. This
Maybe
one's a lot paler.
Put a link in there. Chuck a link in it.
Oh, it smells nice.
Yeah, and like, look at how beautiful that looks if you're watching the video. The head on that. Maybe it's just my super clean glass. Like,
she foamy.
Oh, mine's not. Mine is like, look at that.
No, mine is foamy.
Oh, it smells nice.
I can smell the talus and the laurel.
And talus is the sibling hop or the related hop
Sabro.
to...
It's the daughter of Sabro.
I knew it was related, but I couldn't remember which way. I think I'm getting like the pininess, I'm getting the pininess in the smell for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely pine in there.
But it's really interesting. So like when I just did the that like Passover smell before actually covering it, the drive-by, I just call it the Passover. Oh, that definitely sounds like something else. It's definitely more of those like, you know, like the piney qualities to it. But then when I do like the swirl and sniff situation, I pick up more fruitiness in that. It's a very complex aroma because I feel like the way it's layered in the smell for me is just so interesting. Like there's not too many beers that I think have like layering in the aroma for me as this one does.
It's very refreshing.
It's thinner than I thought it was going to be. I don't know why I thought it wouldn't be, but I think because of the first one, I thought this was going to be
not as thick as the first one, but not to a detriment to it.
Yeah, I am interesting.
I'm getting the older Idaho.
I don't know why, but like the immediate word that springs to my head, and I don't even think it's the right word, but the first word that popped into my head was just like pithy.
Yeah.
It is refreshing, you're right.
Yeah, there's a little bit of berry in there.
See, I don't get a lot of berry in it.
And herbal.
I don't really get the herbal either.
Is it too cold? Mine's been out longer than yours.
I don't think it's too cold because I think I personally feel like it's the right temperature for me. Yours has been out a lot longer than mine has, but I think if it were warmer, I wouldn't enjoy it as much, to be fair. Mine's definitely fruity. I'm getting some like pininess, a bit of bitterness, but it's very well balanced.
Yeah, it's not an incredibly bitter beer.
I'm definitely getting like citrus, definitely getting the citrus fruits in it. I wouldn't say it's massively tropical, but then again, I feel like it's hard because if we're comparing it with the first one.
Compared to the double barreled, it's much lighter, and I think it's more delicate in its flavors. Whereas this one was like tropical.
I think if I were to reorder, if I wasn't christening my double barrel glass, I probably would have chosen to do this one first because I think like once you've had the double barreled one and it has that like full mouthfeel and that like bold fruity flavors, this is a really good beer. I wouldn't say that it's like, all of a sudden it's taken away and it's not good. No, it's absolutely good. But now I feel like I'm like, oh, that fruitiness, is that just left over from what I've had? But it's very enjoyable. But again, lovely. I feel like this is like a beer garden beer.
Yeah, it's definitely for out in the sun.
It's weird because I feel like, I don't know how you feel, like how you categorize things, but I feel like there's different types of in the sun beer, whereas I feel like the double barreled is like sit in my garden, have friends around, like hanging out, and I feel like this is a good like sit in a beer garden with like strangers around you. I feel like you could
like I would session this and not think very hard about it. Like whereas a double barrel one, I'll be like, ooh, I'm gonna pick all the flavors out of it.
Although saying that, I think the aromas are more complex for me.
Yeah. 100%.
In terms of the Quantock, but the flavor is more complex than the other one in a way. But it's really nice.
Very drinkable.
Very good. Very, very, very crushable beers.
Good.
They're based in Taunton, which I know there's a Taunton in. There's a Taunton in the US, in Massachusetts, where I know where that is. I don't know where that is here. Where is Taunton? Tell us.
Somerset. It's down in Somerset.
Down where I'm from.
Where she's not really from. That's just where people always go. Right. Did you have that at the weekend? Someone
at the weekend, like, someone asked me.
She's from Boston.
at the weekend, we'll share the story because I want to have some more of my beer. At the weekend, somebody did ask me, where is your accent from? As I was pouring them a beer. And Jo just laughed. She heard it and she just flat out laughed. She said nothing and then just laughed. And then because Jo started laughing, then he kind of was confused why she was laughing. And then someone else had walked.
I don't think this was at the beginning of the session either. I think he'd had a few already. So
it was not. It was not at the beginning of the session.
Poor man.
And I think he had been up to our bar like quite a few times. Yeah. So he was like, he's like, where is your accent from? I can't place it. Then Jo laughed. And then someone threw him off. Then someone else came up and I was like, I don't know. And I think he said something about like, oh, you sound like you're from West Country.
I think he said you're West Country. Have you got a tractor?
He was like, no, I don't.
He did. He said, have you got a tractor?
I didn't hear that. I just heard you sound like you're from the West Country. And then someone else came up and then Jo started laughing more. So then I started laughing and I went, don't know. And I was like, I'm really sorry. And then because then Jo started going, tell them where you're from. Tell them where you're from. And I was like, I can't. Sorry, someone's over there. I've got to go serve them. So I walk over. Jo starts serving this guy and goes, she's from Boston. And he was like, what?
Completely confused, the poor man.
He was like lovely as well. He wasn't being like rude or anything else like that. It was really funny because he was like, where is your accent from? I can't place it. And he's like, is it West Country? And then Jo just stood there.
I just laughed.
Like the worst hype man in history, going, tell him where you're from. I was like, no.
I'll tell him you're from Boston.
And then she was like,
and then he was just really confused. I'm like, here's your beer, bye.
And then I think that confused him more because then you gave him the beer and then he stood around going,
and he's like,
how? And then he was like, why are you over here? Why are you here?
Why?
He then stood there going, I've been to Florida or something like that. And then he was like, because that's what, to be fair, it's not just him. Anytime you tell someone you're from the US, they go, oh, where? I've been to Florida. I was like, Boston, Florida. Not quite the same, but okay, like I respect, like I understand, I get it. But yeah, then he goes, oh, what are you doing over here? And I was like, got married to that guy standing over there and he's British. And he was like, oh, that makes sense. So I was like, yeah.
We'd addled his poor beer-soaked brain, bless him.
It was funny. It was just funny the way you were going, yeah, tell him where you're from. And I was like, stop this right now.
It was funny.
And then I was like, you serve him. I've got to get this side of the bar. And then Jo was like, she's from Boston. And then I thought he would just go. I thought he'd just fuck off and be like, okay, I'm okay with that. And then he was like, I have additional questions. And I was like, okay.
Okay. I didn't expect there to be additional questions.
There was additional
he would
questions.
Be appeased.
To be fair, I don't mind like when people, it's a natural thing to like want to ask, to be fair. And I really genuinely don't mind. It's just like when it catches you off guard and you're on a busy bar and someone's like, where are you from? Is it West Country? And then it makes me laugh when people say West Country right away. Or Bristol. Yeah, we know I'm not good at lying about it because I try to go Bristol and they go where? And I'm like, I don't know. The part of Bristol that I was raised in. Right. We'll link to the website where you can get this if you want to try that. That's enough of our tangenting off into people asking me where I'm from or because I asked where Taunton was. Cool.
All right. Third and final bit. I'm excited. Multiplayer.
Which coincidentally we had I at least had at the weekend.
I don't think I did have it.
On tap. I mean, I've had it at Elusive, but where we were this weekend, I'm not going to say where because I don't want to date it, but where we were, it's dated already. You can figure it out. Yeah. If you can, that's an Easter egg for you. But I had it on tap there and I've got the keg badge for it.
I don't think I did because I knew I had this. So I'll just try here.
It's the Elusive, Siren and Malt Miller extra special bitter called Multiplayer. Which is a brilliant name. I today am repping Elusive. I've got my Elusive glass. I've got my ladies Elusive top because I feel like when I see a women's size top, I buy it because I'm like, I want to see more of them. So I will buy it so that they know that there's a need for it. I've inadvertently rocking my Elusive tattoo. I did not get that for Elusive. Like before everyone starts going, how do you betray Siren? You're getting an Elusive tattoo. Where's the Siren tattoo? Like it's not for
before listeners go, what is she talking about? Elusive tattoo. She's got three
I've got 8-bit hearts.
She's got 8-bit hearts. Like
tattooed on my arm.
Tattooed on her arm. So it's not necessarily Elusive. It just kind of ties in quite well.
To be fair, like one of the first times I went to Elusive, like one of the people that I was at, one of my friends I was with, he was like, you need to show Andy, who's like the founder of Elusive, like you need to show him. He will appreciate that. And I was like, right. And I was like, Andy. He's like, cool. I was like, I feel like a dick. And I'm inadvertently rocking my Ruth headband.
Yeah, you've got like proper Ruth from Elusive.
Yeah, so she's kind of the jack of all trades. She does the marketing, like she's always down at the tap yard, like hauling ass, being a boss. But she also has headbands like this. So
you've also
inadvertently done that.
You've got a bit of a Rosie the Riveter vibe going on tonight, I think, which is very, very apt. While we're on the subject of 8-bit, the can art is lots of 8-bit ladies brewing beer.
All the people involved in it.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it a lot.
So to name off the people involved in it, it's Hayley, Jane, Joanna, Kat, Maz, Rachel, Ruth, and Zoe.
Amazing.
So I just needed to read the names out because they're on the label, and they're all literally repping the peeps down at the tap yard and the malt miller. So because it's, for anyone that doesn't know, which might be relevant, Siren literally it's literally is like across the tap yard. We just call it the tap yard, but it's like the Siren tap yard, but Elusive is there as well. Like literally
it's in the same bit.
You can see
it's one of those lovely kind of industrial estate bits, and they're opposite each other basically.
Like they make a really lovely afternoon crawl. If you started Elusive, because Elusive closes earlier, just top tip for anyone, I think I've said it before, I'll say it again, you started Elusive because it closes earlier and you can have everything on the tap, have some of their guest beers. They have a phenomenal guest beer
they've got
section.
good guest beers in their fridges,
and they have little mini games consoles. They got the SNES and the Dreamcast, I believe it is, the small versions, and they've just put a beautiful new like 8-bit mural up on the wall, and it's super cool, especially if you're a video game nerd like me. It's great, and you can get some really amazing takeaways. Like literally you can get barley wine takeaways, you can get like there's so many different things you can get from guest breweries there, and then you go across the way to Siren to finish up because they close later in the day and they serve pizza, or they usually have a food truck. So it's pretty good.
It's good times.
Like I said, I've cheated. I've had this one before a few times.
I have poured mine. It is a beautiful bright clear dark amber. It's got big fat carbonation bubbles in it. It's got a nice lacing white head there.
My glass isn't even as dirty as I thought it might be. Whee.
It's beautiful. It smells caramelly and bready. Bit of orange, maybe?
Yes, like marmalade-y.
Yeah, marmalade. Oh,
definitely got that marmalade vibes.
That's nice.
Repping my peeps now.
All right, I'm going in. Yeah,
it's just like
for me.
It's difficult because I don't really want to weigh in on it because I've had it before, I've liked it before, I know I'm gonna like it again. I happen to get a can of it for myself, I think, already. And then when we decided we were going to do this episode, I was like, if they have any more cans down there, I will get you a can.
I was like, yes,
I'll
please.
send you a can. And lo and behold, they still had cans, and they still do have cans. So we'll link the website shop.
Yeah, go get some because this is delicious. It is toasty, caramelly. There's like a teeny little bit of nut in there. There's a bit of marmalade.
I was going to say, like, it's literally for me towards the back end. There's a little bit of nuttiness. It's sort of like the lingering aftertaste is a bit of nuttiness, and it's really, really nice.
It's light and refreshing, but it's not thin in body. Like, it's got a good body. Yeah, this is tasty.
So what's really interesting as well, so like they've done this, so I'm just going to read sort of like a little bit from their website, from their blog post about it, again, where they were looking for people to sort of come join them. So what I thought was interesting, so obviously the name multiplayer is pretty great because it's a video game reference, like I said, if you're a nerd in that respect, but also there's like all the different parties getting involved, making it multiplayer. But there's another level to it as well, where it says the collaboration is to support home brewing as much as they can as well, in addition to just like conventional industrial size brewing. So one thing I will say before I read the rest of this, what I really like is, in terms of Elusive, like the founder of it is a dude. And so the fact that he still is like, I'm going to let my I want my brewery to participate in International Women's Collaboration Brew Day. That makes it, even in my opinion, it just makes it extra cool. That it's
like you don't have to have like
he's got a whole badass women working for him.
Like you don't have to have a female identifying person in your brew house. You don't have to have a female identifying co-owner. Like you can just still encourage women into the beer, women and female identifying people and non-binary people into brewing on this day, like any day obviously, but particularly on this day you can still do that. You're not excluded from doing that just because you're a dude.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't appreciate you out. I mean, I think everyone, if you're listening to us and you're into beer, you probably know Andy. He probably hates it, but it's got the title nicest man in brewing, like whatever. But genuinely, he's like a super nice guy, so I don't expect anything different. But I just wanted to call that out because I think there's maybe a misconception that like a lot of times you have a female head brewer or female identifying head brewer or co-owner or owner, and like those are the people that go and do them. But it's like you said, Joe, you don't have to be, and that's super cool. But also because his roots and how he kind of started the brewery on home brewing, he also really likes to support home brewing, and I think that's also partially like where the malt miller plays into this as well. So what they've done, it says the malt miller have put together 2 all grain kits for multiplier, one to make the 23 litre of beer and one to make 50 litre. Each kit includes everything you need already measured out, along with the recipe for you to follow. So like that's pretty cool. And it's like, if you'd like to brew along with us on the day, we'll be broadcasting each step on Instagram stories. Like I feel like the fact they've put together these kits is just like, that's really
that's
really
super
cool.
Fun. That's really fun.
I'm just clicking into that website now just to see if you can still. Yes. So I've clicked into it, and all intents and purposes, it looks like you can still buy the Elusive Siren Craft and Malt Miller multiplayer 23 litre kit. So I just think stuff like that just adds that extra layer, and it's pretty cool.
It's just encouraging more awesome people to get into beer. Like, if you're not comfortable in having that, if you're not comfortable like going somewhere where you might be you've not met people before, you can follow along at home and start building yourself up that way. I think that's brilliant.
So what they've put out there says we'll be brewing 2 versions of the brand new beer multiplayer, one with our main kit and one with our Grainfather G70. Multiplayer is an extra special bitter, hot with Northern Brewer, inspired by Siren's very own self-proclaimed Northern Brewer Haley, Mandarina and Centennial, and we would love for as many homebrewers as possible to brew along with us and celebrate the awesome women that make up the beer and the brewing community at all levels. It's another game, sort of a inadvertent, whether it's intentional or not, game reference, and it's really cool.
If you happened to brew this along with them, can you let us know, because we want to know how it came out. We want to know how it went.
Yes, and I'd like to hear like if you just watched them brew it on the day, because I didn't.
No, we were a little bit busy.
Just a little bit. But if you watched along, like I'd love to know sort of how your experience was watching the brewery do it virtually. Like, how did you find it? Did you find it interesting? Did you find a sense of community in the same way as other people going directly there? But yeah, just to vouch, I know a lot of badass, amazing women that work at Siren and at Elusive. So if you are in the area, go check it out and support them and buy this amazing beer, because it's really, really good. Especially if you like craft breweries doing like trad styles.
Love it.
This is like
my faves.
Elusive is in my opinion, I feel like you've got Fallen Acorn and you've got Elusive are 2 of my top ones, and Anne's Patch and Hob Day. 3 of my top ones where I think they do like just such an amazing job with doing this like more modern / craft inspired, whatever you take that to mean, version of these traditional styles. And it 100%. Just makes me enjoy it like so much.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I'm just not saying a lot because I'm just drinking it because it's so tasty.
So tasty.
It's so good. I'm very glad that you got me one. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. And it was really good off the tap this past weekend at the place that we were at this past weekend.
I had, and I know you did too, I had our International Women's Collaboration Brew Day beer from Heist off tap this weekend. We also had our Brave Noise beer off of tap this weekend. It was a good weekend for drinking our beers.
It was. And we also
making other people drink our beers.
Literally I feel like this deserves a separate episode, which we're not going to give it, but out of the ones that we had this past weekend, which is, like I said, at this point we might have done another festival by the time this comes out, who knows. But we had the Black IPA Vanta from Full Circle.
So good.
It was Full Circle Vocation, I think. Yeah, Vocation and Bathhouse.
Yeah.
That Black IPA Vanta.
It was beautiful.
That tapped out. Yep. We had before the end of the night, like a fair amount before the end of the night, it was pouring gorgeous. It was tasting gorgeous. Like, cannot recommend that enough. It was tasty. We had Echo's Echo IPA that was made with the South African hops.
Yeah, beautiful.
Literally met them for the first time in person.
Yeah,
they were amazing, lovely, beautiful people.
Yeah,
and their beer was amazing. Tapped out.
Yeah,
for the end of the night.
Yeah.
Then we had, as Jo said, the Heist opening the doors espresso martini white stout that we helped brew, and I think that was probably close to tapping out.
It was close to going. Do you know what?
It didn't tap out, but somebody did come up, and what did they say to you, Jo?
Oh, they said it was the best beer they'd ever tasted, and they were desperate to find it again.
I had camera people.
Yeah, we had people coming back.
I was shocked that, like, and this is probably the stigma on my part. Like, we had camera people coming up and ordering like the Black IPA and the white stout, and I was just like, and they were loving it, and I was like,
there were a couple of people that just kept coming back for the white stout. Just every time they were just like white stout over and over. It was so good. Like, I think that one poured better than the other two, so I think there was still more in there because it hadn't foamed up as much.
Yeah,
I think that's.
I think that's just because the nature of it, it doesn't naturally have.
Yeah, it wasn't just as carbonated as the other two. So, but yeah, it was a good day for our beers, and Brave Noise went down really well as well.
That was beautiful. I had it twice. I chugged it. I had to chug it.
So good on tap. Like, it was really just the hops were coming through so beautifully. It was so creamy. Oh, it was so good.
I had it,
even if I do say so myself, because I brewed it myself.
I had it like once on its own. It was like, I was like, gorgeous. And then the second time I was forced to do a chug, and I was like,
you weren't forced.
I was forced
to do a chug.
Have
to do it.
You don't say no to the person that I said that wanted me to. Like, you just do it. When this person approaches you and they're like, you're doing a chug, you do a chug. You just do it. But this person was also like, find an MP, and I was like, no. And then he's like, okay, you pick one. And I was like, if I'm going to chug it, I'm going to chug a beer for charity. It's going to be Brave Noise.
Yeah. And we also took pictures with our faces next to our faces on the pump.
Yes, if you want to see our faces next to faces on the pump clip, or you want to see me neck third, it was a half pint of Brave Noise, really shittily, because I'm not a chugger at all. I never claimed to be, because I like to taste my beer.
I don't believe in chugs. So, I don't believe in them.
I'm impressed, but they are not for me. But I did it. If you want to see that, it's on I think you've posted photos of our faces next to the clip, and it's in my reels from
it's in on your Instagram.
Arundel Festival.
Oh,
we're gonna say it.
She did it. She dated it. She did it.
It was brilliant. Before we finish, and while you finish drinking that, I thought there's 34 breweries at the moment that I have listed down that have done an International Women's Collaboration Brew Day.
Amazing. We've drunk 3.
Through them. I'm gonna run through them all. We've done 4
because we've drunk our not tonight, but we've had our opening the doors.
Oh yes. I was like, hang on, which 4 have we had? I'm going to run through them quickly because I want to make sure that they're all called out. But what I will say is, if you are in the Crafty Beer Girls group, it's posted in there. If you're a person that's not in the Crafty Beer Girls group, that's fine, but you want the list, let me know. Like, I can find a way to get you the list. I think there's potentially a separate list if you're a trade person that wants to stock it. Again, let me know. I'll see what I can find for you. Just DM me. But in alphabetical order.
Here we go.
I'm going to run through, but I'm going to take sips in between.
Okay.
I'm going to do 10. Jo will do 10. We'll just go back and forth.
We're just going to do it.
We're just going to keep running through it while we drink beer. So in alphabetical order, apologies in advance if anything's pronounced wrong. I'm running through it as quick as I can. Ashover Brewery, Benchmark Brewery, Brass Castle, Brewhouse and Kitchen, Bullhouse Brew Co. with a collab with Belfast Women's Beer Collective, Burning Salt and Brum Beer Babs collaboration, Buxton Brewery, Cloudwater, crafted and curated, Curious Brewing. Jo, over to you.
Double Barreled, which we had this evening, Exhale Brewing, Green Duck Beer Co., Hand Brew Co., Heist Brew Co. We did that one. That's our one. Hop Hideout, Clockell Brewing, Lost Industry Brewing. That was us as well. Mad Yank Brewery and Creative Juices Brewing Co. And Neeps End Brew Co., who we didn't brew with, but we did have a bottle share with them, so that was fun.
And I took home beers from them because it was really good. I'm going to say an extra one in addition to mine because I just want to say this one. Neptune Brewery, New Bronze Brewery, and Beers Without Beards collaboration.
Yep.
Park Brewery, who we had their Brave Noise. You're going to see an episode from them soon if you haven't seen it already.
Yep.
Polly's Brew Co., Pretty Decent Beer, Sharps Brewery, Signature Brew Co., the Cambridge Brew House, the Wind Craft Beers, Thornbridge, and I'm going to throw in an extra one. Top Rope, we love you, Neil.
we do love Top
they've
Rope.
done Savage, Cherry Bakewell IPA.
Amazing.
We weren't saying names, but I just wanted to say that one. Last one's with you, Jo.
And then we have finally Villages, Whiplash, and of course Wildcard. So many good beers there to go and try. Please go.
To be fair, this list, it may not be the only ones, to be honest.
It may not be all of them.
So this is just a list that was put together in Crafty Beer Girls group, and it was just if you know a brewery that's doing it or you have a brewery that's doing it, please add it to this list. So there may be more. If we've missed any, please let us know because I want to. We'll get it added to the list.
Gotta drink them all.
Pokemon. Can we just end on that? I like that.
And done.
To be fair.
Oh, no.
And put that at the end. Just if anyone listens through to the end, they'll just get. I'm just gonna cut that. Gotta drink them all, Pokemon. It's Pikachu. Fuck.
So good.
Anyways, no, this has been amazing. I needed this today because it was a long few days recovering from an exhausting weekend.
Yeah.
These beers all were really, really good. I don't even think I've got a favourite of the night because they were all really good
in their own ways. Yeah, definitely.
And they weren't really ones that you could stack up against each other. Not that I would anyways, because International Women's Collaboration Brew Day is not about stacking anything up against each other. Good. Anyways, but I mean, I don't even think you could kind of go this and they're all just different. Yeah. So it's been a really good one.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. We hope you enjoyed it too.
If anyone wants to come and talk to you, Jo, about your previous International Women's Collaboration Brew Day experiences, if they're maybe a bit anxious and they go, oh, maybe I want to do it next year, but I'm not sure, what's the etiquette? How do you do it?
Come and ask me all the questions because I will answer them and I will tell you that you must go because it is the best. You can come and talk to me. I am Love Beer Learning on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Pinterest. I generally hang out on Instagram though, so you're probably better off going there. If you'd like to learn more about my beer school, that is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. There is a blog there with lots of lovely information on it. And I also have an email address, which is lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. Of course, we have the podcast Instagram, which is A Woman's Brew, and that is also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we have the new A Woman's Brew YouTube channel. If you may be watching us here now, maybe you are, I don't know.
If you're not, how are you watching us?
Yeah, but if you haven't subscribed, why not? Make sure that you subscribe because we have about 11 followers now. Woo!
And not only that, if you actually want to send us an email directly this time, so we're not sharing it with Jo's beer school anymore. We're breaking out, we're doing our own strong independent women thing, and we have our own one, and it is a women's brew podcast at gmail.com, and we'll pick up anything for the podcast on that. So if you have feedback, be gentle. I'm a sensitive I'm literally a delicate flower, so I'm secretly sensitive, so be nice about it. But if you've got feedback, you've got questions, comments, like anything, ideas,
there's people you want us to go
hear,
talk to, or beer styles you want us to look at, or
if you're a brewery, bottle shop, anybody remotely in the beer industry that you want, that you think we should talk to, email us on there.
And also you can support us on Patreon. That's still under the beer school though, so that is patreon.com/love beer learning. Tori, if people want to tell you how cool your Ruth/Rosie the Riveter look
my Ruth
was
headband
tonight, where can they get hold of you?
I mean, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
pretty
I've got
cool.
a few of them and I wear them sometimes, but I just coincidentally happen to have it on already when I put my Elusive shirt on. So yeah, I mean, that's good. I'll take it. You can come find me and compliment me on Instagram at adventures_in_optimism. That's pretty much it. I've got links to, I have written a blog post.
It's very good.
In ages. So you're welcome, everyone. If you want to know about Flock, go and read that, but you can get that through my podcast. You can get that through my Instagram link tree. And I have started, I've made some pretty fire TikToks lately. For a person that has literally 20
you hate
minutes,
it.
Absolute max patience. And even then I'm like, I'm done. If this last take doesn't work, we're doing it. Like, do not care. I do not put the tender love and care you put in, Jo. If you want that, you can come find that, but you'll probably just be best going to my Instagram.
I am going to reshare our Lizzo one though, because you posted it without any information.
It was unintentional. We just hit the post button. We were like,
don't say we. You did. You hit the post button with no information, no tag.
Because I normally just save things to draft. Because normally it goes to my private, and then I can like move it across if I want, or download it and redo it. This one I just hit, and I was like, oh no. We need to then do part 2. And we get really good at the Lizzo dance. But watch this.
I think we were good.
We could have been better.
Okay, fine.
We could have been a lot better. A few drinks less. Come and watch this space. See our Lizzo dance. Yes. It's about time.
On that note, cheers.